I had a piece called Ripples. Would you like to hear Ripples?
Oh, yeah, actually, good.
Okay. I went to their country 10 years ago to work. I quickly grew to love their country. I remember I used to love a place called Stonehaven, 30 miles south of Aberdeen. I remember I used to get up in the morning and run down by the beach and down by the River Carn, and sometimes I'd stop and run my fingers through the waters of the River Carn and watch the ripples form around my wrist. I had everything I needed in Stonehaven then. I remember I used to love the way the name was made up of two parts, Stonehaven. And with your permission, I would like to dissect that name and take the haven and leave the haven aside, and take the stone and compress that stone and cast that stone onto the pool of your imagination and watch those ripples grow up and out and into the River Carn and down the River Carn and down to the sea, the North Sea, and out 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. Watch with me now as we fly in a helicopter, a Tiger helicopter, high over the North Sea, and watch those ripples travel out 20 miles, 50 miles, 70 miles, 170 miles, 172 miles, until those ripples caress the steel tubular frame of a platform called the Piper Alpha. Watch with me now as we land on the helideck and travel down 147 steps towards a place we used to call the dive skid, a place some of you may not be familiar with. I remember back then in 1984, stepping backwards into the dive cage and being lowered 72 feet onto the surface of the water, and where August was the month of the jellyfish breeding. Oh, that you could see what we could see. The colours were beautiful, blue and green and yellow and red, and long white tentacles moving down 10 or 12 feet below the surface. I remember being lowered 125 feet into the dark North Sea, and at the time the operator had a rule that before the diver left the cage, he must blow air from his pneumo gauge into the perspex bubble above his head, so the diver would have a bubble at depth, a safety bubble at depth. I remember swimming north towards leg A1, and when a diver swims these days in the North Sea, he wears 8,000 pound worth of equipment on his back and on his head and on his umbilical cord. My sixth sense told me there was something wrong. But on the left-hand side of his hat, there's a small valve called a mushroom valve. And if that valve should invert and unseat, drowning can be imminent. My sixth sense told me there was something wrong. I turned on my umbilical, and the North Sea burst open the valve, and the sea came in and stung my face and burnt my eyes. And in that moment, I knew that drowning could be imminent. I thought about my mother and my father. I thought about my brothers and my sister. I thought about my friends, and I could feel a terrible slow weakness coming up through me. And then I saw before me, stenciled in white on the vision of my helmet, on the visor of my helmet, the words of Britain's great statesman. Sir Winston Churchill said the 6 most important words in the English language are never, ever, ever, ever give up. I turned on my umbilical. I committed to the fight for my young life. I pulled myself back 1 foot over the other. I pulled myself back towards the cage, 27 feet, 1 foot for every year of my young life at the time. I pulled myself into the cage and up into the bubble. I sucked air from that bubble. I ripped my helmet off and sucked air from that bubble. And in that moment, I realised that that bubble was my haven. And from that haven back to Stonehaven, we all live within striking distance of the sea. Tomorrow, go to where the sea meets the shore and run your finger through a wave, and know that that wave is made by men blowing bubbles, working in the ocean deep. And some of those bubbles are made by, some of those ripples are made by men working in the ocean deep and blowing bubbles working in the ocean deep. And some of those bubbles contain anxiety and fear and determination and work. And those men aren't just working for themselves and the money they earn. Those men aren't just working for oil majors who run the North Sea. Those men, ladies and gentlemen, are working for us. And the next time you watch your child absorb ripples of heat from your North Sea gas fire, remember the phrase that a picture paints 1,000 words. Picture the men working out there underneath the ripples of our North Sea. Please think about those men. They need your prayers.